Well, it's beautiful, beautiful fall, and very grateful for that. But I'm just coming at you with another quick little musing about the kind of carving and business of carving wood and sculpture, and I guess really art in general. This applies to probably anyone who's in the creative realm. There's this sort of resistance that is talked about in Stephen Pressfield's book, War of Art, and it's a very prevalent kind of mental battle with artists to kind of toggle between the thought of a project and the actual execution of it. And what's interesting is that skill of going back and forth between the thought of the carving or the artwork and the execution of it is critical to making really great art, because if I'm executing a work, that execution, that physical act of making the carving is what's propelling it forward. But that pause and that engagement of the left brain is what's telling me something's wrong with the carving. It's not right proportionally or symmetrically or thematically or conceptually. But then, you have to be able to quickly toggle back into execution mode of, the actual tactile experience of removing material, right? As a sculptor, in my case. And what's interesting about being an artist is you can find that if you spend too much time in the left brain, it will actually keep you from even starting a project. For instance, in my case, I've often had ideas about what to carve and had people suggest to me fantastic ideas of what I might create in terms of artwork, but I have often just blown over those ideas because of the kind of hurdle of actually executing it, of actually getting my brain to go from, wow, that's a great concept, to, wow, now I'm going to get my hands behind the chisel, mount that piece of wood up, or whatever precedes the actual project. So I want to encourage you, a daily warm-up carving, even if it's just a temporary thing, and if you're an artist in other capacity, a daily painting, a daily, if you're a writer, a daily article, a short paragraph or two, early in the morning as an exercise to warm you up is so helpful for a season. One, at a minimum, if that's all you do in the beginning of your day is just that one little warm-up project, what you've told your brain is it likes to activate, it likes to create, right? It likes to, you're engaging that kind of right side of the creative part of the brain that works without conscious thought. And it helps to get that left side of the brain to fire a bit more, but not in the way that keeps you from creating things, right? It doesn't hinder you then, it gets you to create more. I hope this is relevant to you, because for me, I've noticed that when I take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in the beginning of my day to just devote to making a small project, what that's helped me to do is to sort of reduce the barrier to entry, the mental barrier that I have from thinking about making something to actually making it. So I definitely recommend, as a practice, make something small every day. If you're a songwriter, write a short little blip every day. It could be a complete song, it could be a few verses, it could be a chorus, whatever. And it seems so obvious. I hope it doesn't subtract from the significance of it for you and the application of it to your life. Because in my case, just producing content for YouTube, for you guys, has been so beneficial to my other aspects of business, because it's told me, look, you don't have to spend so much time in the left brain that you don't ever get to the project. And of course, the distractions of life are all up in that left side of the brain. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I forgot about that. I have this to pay. I have this to go to. All this stuff. Giving yourself a block of time in the morning, it gives you this sort of concrete part of each day where you can dedicate to just free-flowing thought, right? It doesn't have to be this big conceptual piece, this big idea. But what's great about it is it frees you up to have the rest of the day to compose a thought, maybe a little background story about your piece. And for so many years, I'll say this in conclusion, because I could wax on this stuff all day, but if you make art and you're afraid of putting meaning behind your art, right? If you are afraid of being like hoity-toity and kind of like uppity sounding, and you don't want your dad or brothers or a family to embarrass you, right? Or to feel embarrassed by you even. I just want to suggest that as a person who's dealt with that same sort of feeling of I don't want to be the guy who's like, well, this piece represents the disparity of mankind. I didn't want to make pieces that had a deeper meaning. But when I started to do that, and not necessarily every single piece I make has to have a deeper meaning, some pieces can be like a daily exercise, like we talked about. I found that I am so much more encouraged to make art that is meaningful to me. In other words, you know, for years I dealt with this feeling of what I was doing was unimportant and not a part of my calling, right? I was making nice things, but I wasn't making beautiful things to me. So part of that change for me was making stuff that has meaning, right? Getting your left brain involved. So what I'm saying is, if you can't use both your left and your right brain at once and toggle back and forth between them efficiently, start with your right brain. Start with the creative brain. Start with just jotting something down. Start with just movement, action, and then work to the left brain. Then work to your creative brain, thinking about why you're making it or what you want to include in it thematically. So, like for instance, right now, I'm driving to my old studio, my parents' barn, to pick up some wood for a specific idea that just came to me in a moment. And because I've been creating so many pieces each morning, I now feel this ease of transition from a quick piece into a larger piece because I've stretched that right side of the creative part of the brain, right? So that's all. I hope that made sense. I hope that wasn't too convoluted. I'm just thinking as I'm talking, so I hope this is helpful for you guys. And as usual, if you want to check out my online carving school, I have some conversations about carving there, especially on like the nitty-gritty, like the technical parts of carving, the tools, the materials, how I execute, primarily focusing on the human face. So check that out. Talk to you. Bye guys.